What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode here on the Pool Focus Podcast. I'm Quentin, and today's photographer is an amazing photographer from Charleston, West Virginia. Her name's Heather Schoolcraft, and she does everything from destination weddings to styled shoots to senior portraits and just so much more. So while she does that, she also runs a full team. So we're going to be diving into her story, and without further ado, welcome, Heather.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
always an honor. I feel like I'm finally so excited we get to meet.
I know we've definitely been following each other for a very long time. So
Yeah.
I think this is so cool. Like I say that on every single episode, but like meeting all other just like creatives and people around you and stuff is just in your own industry is like it's a good moment. I don't think we think of it like that as much because like even musicians, like I've seen clips of like country music artists and stuff, they don't meet each other until like award ceremonies or something like that. And you're just thinking they're all hanging out at a bonfire, like just like playing a guitar or something. Yeah, so Heather, thank you so much for being here. I'm super excited just because I feel like with your brand and what you've established in the few years that I've seen and stuff is that you're killing it and you always have great advice to give to like beginner photographers, especially like on legal issues and the business side of things, and then running the team and everything. So kind of just talk about how, like, you know, a little bit of your history, how you got into it, and then.
Yeah, so I think this is like the funniest part, but I actually didn't start in photography. I actually started in videography.
Okay.
Which is like crazy.
Yeah.
But so I started. Well, I don't want to say I started. I picked up a camera and started doing videography a lot for a lot of the Marshall clubs when I went to school there. And I started videography and I loved it. And I started that back in like 2016, 2017. And then that kind of transitioned into photography because in 2020 I lost my job because of COVID.
Yeah.
And it was really just so unfortunate. But I was like, you know what? I have all this gear. Like, maybe like I'll just charge like $50 a session here and there, and I did, and it just kind of spiraled into something I really never could have imagined. And I'm so fortunate, and I'm honestly like, I say it all the time, but I'm so blessed to do what I do and work with the people I do, because it's fun. I mean, like you're always gonna have, you know, issues that come up, but I mean, it's truly so fun, and I love it, especially getting to travel. It's great.
Yeah, it's crazy because like I don't like a lot of people like concerts or anything like that, but like I like meeting new people. So it's kind of like it's like meeting new people and like a tolerance. You know, it's like I don't know how to like explain it, but like when I do weddings or when I just like meet people and stuff, like I love that. I love hearing their story. I love. It's really interesting to know how like connected this world really is and stuff.
It's honestly such a small world.
Yeah, I've done weddings and I've booked like 4 weddings off of them, and then they know somebody. Like I would say 80% of all my clientele is they know each other at some point.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and if they don't, I'm just like, how did you really like find me and stuff? And then I mean, for me anyway and stuff, those are the clients that kind of just go to Google and they just kind of like search the area or something like that. And then luckily your SEO did something that day and helped you out and stuff. But so you started in videography at Marshall?
Yeah.
Okay, so was you doing stuff for like athletics or like the?
So not necessarily athletics. I was in a lot of clubs. That was my favorite part of college.
Yeah.
Was the
No,
clubs.
trust me.
And getting to know new people, and it was truly such an experience at Marshall. But yeah, so I started like with Marshall Crew. A lot of the different things in the different clubs there. And occasionally they would just want videos here and there, and I'd make really funny, stupid videos for them, and it would work.
No, that's so cool. It's interesting too, because like there's a lot of people. I mean, I would say like my whole photography like ambition and like spark really happened whenever I got a camera in my hand, and that was in college too. But it was like kind of like accident as well.
Right.
I was involved in a lot of things, so I can relate into like the whole club aspect because I was part of SGA and we had to go to all the events and do stuff anyway. And I was the PR executive on the board, so I was like, well, I'm not going to take like shitty iPhone pics. And it's like I'm doing it. So I went to marketing, and they always had like an extra like camera, and I think it was like a Nikon 7,200. I don't know. I actually forget what it was, but I know for me it was good enough to like do something with.
Right.
And I'm just like, oh yeah, I got something. So we did one event, and then we posted it, and then people was like, oh, this is like the student government like account. And I was like, yes, it is.
Yeah.
I'm the PR executive. How you
Yep,
doing? And
that was pretty much
Yeah.
what I did as well.
Yeah.
I would do a lot of the social media and stuff for some of the clubs that I was in, and it was fun.
Yeah, yeah.
It was fun, and like to see your social media pop off too. It was a blast.
It teaches you a lot about like branding and stuff. I think I learned more about running social media accounts and like individual brands than I did in any of like my actual marketing classes in college. And it was just like we talked a little bit like off camera a couple minutes ago, just like the algorithm and how things work and stuff too. The thing is that like all the apps and profiles and stuff like that, they change all the time. Like what we did a year ago is definitely not working now, you know. And so it's just like, and I think, you know, doing photo and video is kind of like, if you're able to do those two, it makes you so much more valuable.
Oh my
you know?
gosh, yeah. Because I mean, like, you got to think about it from not only a marketing aspect, but you also have to think about it from a financial aspect too.
Mhm.
Brides are going to be more apt to book with someone who offers both than having to go and find another person
Yeah.
that they like just as much.
That's 90% of my package.
Yeah.
I have 3 packages. The first one is all photo. There's a mid one that does photo and video, but it doesn't offer as many like special sessions and like kind of design and stuff. And then third one's everything.
Yeah.
Everyone buys the third one, and I'm just like, okay, that's fine. But at the same point, I'm just like, there's so much of that in the world. If you don't like try to learn one or the other, you're really discrediting yourself like in the future and stuff, because we are in such a digital world that it's like you have to keep up with it. You know, like right now we have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have all these apps, but like TikTok wasn't relevant till what, like 4 years ago, 5 years ago? Before that was Vine. So you imagine Vine in today's world of like just digital media. So like it changes so rapidly, and that feels like like so long ago, but it really wasn't. I mean, and it's like, what's the next big thing? So it's like, it's got to be something that's going to be, you know, media related and stuff. And way video is king right now. One thing I'm learning on YouTube is it was a lot of shorter videos, like YouTube Shorts, and just higher quality was doing really well. But now YouTube has kind of switched the algorithm, and it's like longer videos is doing much, much better, because a lot of people are streaming it like a television and stuff. Like they're putting it right on and they're just like playing. So it's like if you have a longer video, it helps your watch hours, it helps everything. They're going to push it more, and they're going back to a lot of bigger creators that I followed. They would say, well, if you're going to take a video and put like all this effort into it, color grade it, put all these effects, all these motion graphics and stuff on it, and then release it once 2 weeks, and then it only being like 5 minutes, and then you get 1,000 views compared to something that's going to get like 50,000, but it's just like on a GoPro. You know, how are you going to compete with that and stuff? You're obviously reaching more people. So it sucks though, because like I've seen that a lot on just like viral clips. Like I'll do a clip and I'm so proud of the editing of it, and it'll get no love. And then some of the worst stuff I ever put out there, it'll pop off, and I'm just like,
always how it is. That's the kicker, man.
Yeah.
People really, I mean, like not to, you know, discredit people that do a lot of like educational things, because those really do pop off.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I've noticed, like truly gaining a following, is people really don't want to see a lot of the educational stuff. They really want to see the funny, stupid stuff and the funny side of your business.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't even think about some of the stuff that we go through as business owners, and to them it's kind of funny.
yeah, there's a lot of that's going around. Like there's a sound that's going around with Theo Vaughn's from his podcast. He's like, yeah, I did. But everyone's putting in is like, did you put more in your gallery than you expected and stuff? And like, I've seen so many people start doing that. But little things like that is just, you know, you're talking about Reels, and right now Instagram is such a, ever since they merged Facebook and Instagram, it has just been like downhill for me and stuff.
Yeah,
I don't
Meta
know.
has really kind of just taken over quite literally all of social media. And so I was really, really involved with Pinterest, and Pinterest is also now owned by Meta. And so for a while last year, I actually had access to the Pinterest creator.
Yeah, I remember seeing like maybe some.
Oh, dude,
yeah.
it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome, and they unfortunately ended it, which I was really sad
Yeah.
about. But I have access to like the Facebook Creator Fund, and then I also have access to the Instagram Creator Fund. But Pinterest was levels above what Instagram and Facebook were for me.
Yeah. Well, I know for me, if I am doing like a style shoot or something like that, I instantly go to it. I don't know what I'm doing, but recently I've been sharing mood boards to like my models and stuff like that, and they're more impressed that I'm not like, they're like, oh, you're on Pinterest. I was like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out because
I mean, you got to think about it. All brides, there's not going to be
Oh,
a
yeah.
single bride that doesn't have a mood board that
Yeah.
she has had on Pinterest since she was a teenager.
Yeah.
Because everybody does it, and it's so good to gain inspiration. But I think that a lot of people, it's very easy to see something and then copy it. And I think that you really need to take a step back from Pinterest and, really get inspiration from it instead of just taking a photo and be like, oh, okay, let's copy that.
right. No, I definitely understand what you're saying. I don't know if there is, but they should make a version like that, but it's like video.
So you actually can do certain videos on Pinterest.
Oh, okay. See, I don't know anything about it. I'm such a
I
baby on it. Like I don't know what I'm doing. It's kind of confusing for me because like I want to create like I guess boards and then you like send them out, but then it's like if you send that same link to someone else can see it. I don't
You
know.
can invite people as collaborators as well.
Yeah.
On the board, and then if they wanted to, they could add stuff as well. The only reason I learned so much about Pinterest was because I had, the Pinterest creator. I mean, like, they literally paid us thousands of dollars to post pins, and the pins would reach certain people, and we would target certain audiences. And I mean, at one point, like, I hit over 1 million on Pinterest multiple times.
Just impressions.
Yeah, just impressions. Wow. And having, I think it was like 1.2 monthly views of just 1.2 million monthly views on Pinterest, because like those things that we were doing with the Pinterest creators, because there were hundreds of us. And we ended up getting in a Facebook group and just kind of like gauging ideas off of each other, because it was anything from cooking and recipes to photographers.
Yeah.
And I think I was one of the only photographers in the group that we had on Facebook that was a part of it. And it was crazy seeing like what everybody was doing, and there were a lot of like hobbies like polymer clay earrings and like just a bunch of different stuff that you can think about. And it's honestly so valuable.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of like a wild, wild west for me and stuff, like when I'm going in there, because I also have a terrible way of trying to explain of what I see, what I want. So when I'm typing it in there and stuff too, so like when I posted 3 things, and I was like, when it tells you like the description, all that stuff, I was like, well, I'm trying to like put how I would do it, but I was like, well, I'm terrible at trying to like explain it. So like I just gave my phone to my wife and just like, hey, like help me out on this and stuff. But mainly what I want to use it for, because before that I was just making iCloud folders, and I'll just share the iCloud link to people. But I'm trying to be more professional and easier access, because not everybody has an iPhone, so I'm trying to like put that in there. And then also, like, I've talked about this a lot and stuff too, is just like being a guy in the industry is like when people are like sitting, like, I don't know, you want to make it sure is like as professional as possible when you're having that conversation and like putting it out there. And when I'm talking to these models for the first time, they don't know what to expect. So I'm just like, hey, I have a mood board on Pinterest, and it's been honestly helping the conversation a lot this last year on things, because now I think it's just like a better way for them to like visually understand, like, oh, this is where it's coming from. And I always tell them, I was like, this is just inspo. We can do whatever we want to it. we can, mix and match the outfits and stuff, but it doesn't have to be exact, and yeah, I've had a couple brides and stuff do the same thing, but that's something I just want to dive into this year, just kind of like learn more about that. Other than that, the rest of the apps I'm pretty confident in, just because of like my past experience with my jobs and stuff. I used to work at Glenville State University as director of marketing, and then before that I worked at West Virginia Tourism. So I was doing a lot of the research and the data on the whole entire state accounts. Like I was looking at it every day, and so when you see that much data, it kind of like a lot of things start clicking and be like, oh, this is how a cause and effect is and stuff.
Absolutely, and I feel like in terms of social media, it is truly such a pain, but it is the best free tool that we have. Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, I'm sure there's probably at least one person that's booked me that didn't book me from social media, but I'd probably say about 99% of my bookings are from social media. Yeah. And it used to be a lot of them would come from Facebook. And I feel like now I'm getting a lot more inquiries from Instagram, which is crazy. But it's kind of cool. It's really interesting to see how different people from around the country and internationally can find you.
That's one thing. Yeah, so let's kind of like dive into that a little bit. You have done like destination weddings, and like you literally just got back from Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah.
Like what the heck? So just kind of like dive into some of those clients.
Yeah. So again, I'm truly so blessed, and I'm so fortunate to have the clientele that I do, and just to have people that trust me enough to do their wedding and travel so far. Like this week is actually my birthday, and then the day after I leave for Iowa and then Boston. So I have 2 weddings this weekend.
Yeah.
So it'll be kind of crazy, but kind of fun. And I really enjoy it. But yeah, so social media, like I said, it has truly just been such a godsend on that aspect of just finding the people. Because I do a lot of mentorships, and like you said, like I love helping out like new beginner photographers and even experienced photographers. Yeah. Like it's truly so valuable, and you can learn so much from people and just bouncing ideas off of each other, which is where style shoots come in. But there's so many different things that you can learn, and I always tell the people in my mentorships, if you are wanting to be a destination photographer, you have to show that you can be. And I think the biggest thing is, if you want to do that, how are people going to know about you?
Right.
You have to market yourself in a way where you're like, you are a traveling photographer, and you have to say that, because you kind of have to come at it from a mindset of telling people everything they need to know. Assume that they don't know you travel. Say that. Like, you know what? Absolutely, I'll travel for you anytime. And I think that it really helps with style shoots at content days, because I mean that is the best way to get a portfolio and to show that you can travel.
Right.
And I think for me, it was really important to target specific cities. And so I've been to Arizona a lot. I have a love-hate relationship with Arizona, but I've booked weddings from content days in Arizona. And I had a wedding last year in October in Sedona. So I mean, like, being able to have that content and being able to have that for your portfolio is truly so valuable. And so investing in education is where all that comes in. And being able to say that you do travel, because Hawaii, when I went to Hawaii last month or the month before, in March, it was all for content days. And I think that like you should slightly disclose that to your clients, but it also proves that, hey, I've been here, I know where to go, and I know how I'm going to shoot there. And excuse me, but I think being able to not only show that you can shoot that way, because the biggest thing I tell people is you don't know how you're going to shoot out west. Out west has completely different colors than we have here in West Virginia. And the greens in Arizona, they're completely different than they are here. So being able to go and to be able to practice before you get a wedding is really
Yeah,
helpful.
that's a very good point. And I think like I know what you're explaining too, because even here in West Virginia, like when I do a venue that I've never been at, and there's no hate on some of these venues. Some of these venues that's popped up recently has been very beautiful.
Absolutely.
They've done well, but there's also a trend of the yellow country wood, that's coming through.
Oh, I know.
And
Yep.
for the white balance for that, I'm internally screaming every single time. So like for me, when I get there early, like I tell people, I was like, okay, you tell me when to show up and when to leave. I don't put like an hour onto it, because internally I'm so stressed, because if it's a place that I've never been at,
Yeah.
I'm just like, I have to be like prepared and stuff. So if I'm getting there like an hour or so early, and they're still like, doing the very basic, it gives me enough chances to kind of like do a walkthrough, kind of like go through and like, okay, this is going to be dark at this time. Like I need to do this with my white balance, because I do a lot of photo and video at the same time. And then once my second shooter gets there, feel confident in letting them know, okay, this is what I kind of found out about it. There's a lot of it that goes into it where people's like, oh, okay, like they see your photo and they like automatically think that is what their photo will look like on their day. And it's hard to explain to them about, well, this was shot in August and yours is in April. Like you don't have like leaves out yet. You don't have a golden hour yet. You don't have this. And it is, for me, I shoot more of like a whiskey, like Auburn edit and stuff. And it's more that, it's not like yellow golden. It's just more that red golden. Like, and that's why I've told you like a million times when you're doing these style shoots, every single time they come up, I have either like a wedding booked or I got something booked. But the one that you have that's planned in November and stuff, like, yeah, it's already on my calendar. I told my wife, I was like, I'm doing this. I'm saving up for it and stuff. Because Joshua Tree, for one, I've said it on multiple episodes, like that's a bucket list place for me and stuff. And I know, for one, you're going to have good models. So like that's going to be, yeah.
California, they're also
I'm just
gorgeous.
so ready, because like for me, I'm just like, oh, this is going to be like it's going to be like a really cool thing that I've been just like dreaming about. And with my edit, like I think I could do it so well and stuff. But no, you're absolutely true. And I think you're talking about those greens and stuff. Like I think that's the reason why like I just been like, I've desaturated a lot of mine, but like people's just like, oh no, this is great. I'm just like thinking, I was like, the raw on this looked yellow, and now I had brought it down. I was like, if that's what you want, like I just did a wedding this weekend, and it was in Kentucky, and it rained, and it was just kind of like did whatever. And Colt and I, we was in Discord and we was talking, and he was like, dude, you killed it on those. And I was like, I did not want to shoot it like that. I wanted a golden hour. I wanted this and stuff. And he was like, no, man. But I was like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense, because his style with the greens and stuff like that was right down his alley. So he was just like, I was like, no, it makes sense, because that's you. You would love it. But I was like, it's so interesting to see those little types of perspectives like hit it off. And like for me as a photographer, I'll say this like on every single episode, is like that process is so valuable.
Oh my
in
gosh,
my
yeah.
whole artistic expression and stuff. So,
And I mean, like I always tell people too, like a beach in Florida is not going to be the same as a beach in Hawaii. They're going to be completely different.
Yeah.
And so being able to have that experience in certain areas is so valuable when you do get a wedding.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that like you can't shoot there if you don't have like experience there. No,
Just be prepared.
I go to places every week that are completely new to me. And if you are an experienced professional photographer, you will be fine.
Yeah.
It is just truly having an eye for it and really knowing what you want for your clients. Because exactly what you said, there are going to be times our clients have sometimes unrealistic expectations. I had one bring up one of the photos that I had taken at a content day in Santa Ynez, California. Gorgeous content day. The models were stunning. They spent $35,000 in florals. Okay? A lot of money. And I had a client, and she was like, I want exactly like this. I'm like, okay, well, to get exactly like that, you need to be at sunrise. You need to be up at the crack of dawn for hair and makeup. You need to be at a winery, and you need to have $35,000 in florals.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like, it is really hard to take a photo that you've done before and recreate it, because exactly like what you said, there's so many different factors and key factors that really are just crucial elements into that style and how it goes. And I feel like you said you are very like whiskey Auburn type of style. I feel like the best way to describe mine would be like warm and vibrant. Like on my consultation calls, I always tell my clients, I want you to look at my photos and I want you to feel the warmth and I want you to feel the love in every single photo. And if I do not capture that, then I didn't do my job.
Yeah.
And I think having an English degree, like I told you about, I think that really helps me a lot coming from the aspect of storytelling.
I 100% agree on that.
And even having like the videography background, I think that I feel like I have a different type of way and approach to photography than a lot of other people would, because it's not fully documentary, but I think that having documentary style of an approach for your photos helps so much.
And it's trendy right now too. A lot of people and what's good for me, I don't like to do the pose stuff. I'll do the family stuff or whatever just to kind of like, but I'll never ever post those. Never. No. I don't care about them. I'm sorry, but it's just like I am not doing that. I love the drunk walk. That's like my favorite thing. I love when I like to do my stuff a little bit spiced too, just a little bit.
Of course.
So like I always have the guy down on the ground and the girl get on top, and I love negative space. So like when I shoot that, I'm just thinking about this whole entire like them together by themselves in the field, that moment connected, and it's I've done some of those in like some really weird places. I've done one on Cooper's Rock where there's always people, and the couple was they knew the type of content that I was that I could shoot, so they had faith in me, and she hopped right on them, and it was to this day one of my best golden hour shots like that. And
and I think it all comes down to trust. And I talking about consultation calls, one of the major things I tell people, when you book with me, you trust me. And like you don't tell me no. Like I obviously know your comfortability, and I know that like what you will and won't do, obviously. But it comes down to trust and trusting your photographer and your videographer to make sure that they get exactly what you want. And I think another thing that I tell my clients every time is it's not just about the emotions from the bride and groom. It's their day, but their families are giving them away. Their friends from all over the country. I had a wedding on Saturday, and she had friends, they were from Scotland, okay? So I mean, like sometimes friends internationally that come, and they take part in that day as well. And so it's really important to come from an approach where you're also getting those emotions. And having it centered around the bride and groom, but still getting how everyone is feeling. And if your gallery does not tell how the story of the day goes, then I tell them straight up I didn't do my job.
Yeah, that's interesting you said that, because the one that I did on Saturday, one of her favorite ones from the sneak peeks was literally her hands holding her vows that up there. And she was like, the detail on that was just like, thank you so much. Absolutely. And I was just like, well, that wasn't even the best one. I just threw it in there. Like, it's the B-roll shots. Absolutely. B-roll shots just make the story connect more. And I've seen a lot of like creators and stuff that like bigger creators. They're like, you're doing videography all wrong. You need to do like 75% is B-roll, then another 25% is the actual what you're trying to do. Right. And when you start thinking of that, like, you sit down and edit, it's so much easier. And you're just like, oh, okay, this can be a good transition here. And I'm a little bit different in my wedding videos. So I don't include like audio of them, like talking and stuff. And I think it's because I'm a guy and I just don't relate to like the vows in that sense. I do more of it as like I always explain it to them, like imagine if you have like your own custom music video of just you. So like, if anything, and I let them pick their song, and then I put it through, I run it through a couple software things where I can get a copyright. That way I can put it on YouTube and it doesn't get blocked and stuff. And that takes the longest part. But like some people is putting out like 18-minute wedding videos sometimes, and I've seen some of these. Do you follow Family Porter of Five? He's like.
So I follow Justin Porter.
I don't know.
Porter Media, but I don't think.
No, he's not West Virginia or anything. He's big. He's like big on TikTok.
So Justin.
Yeah.
Justin is based out of Texas, and he's massive.
Yeah.
It might be the same thing.
It might be. I just know his TikTok name is Porter of Family of Five.
Okay.
But anyway, he has like a full van. He always gets hyped up, and he's like gets excited, and he's like shooting them like in Netflix style.
Yep. So we're thinking of
the same guy. Okay.
I found him on Instagram.
Yeah.
And so he has a whole rig set up.
Yeah.
Where it's over the head, and I have so much education from his videos.
Yeah.
They're so valuable, especially in the videography mindset.
Yeah.
And I love how he just shoots that.
He makes me happy and sad at the same time.
Yeah.
Because the happy part is you could truly see that you have somebody right there that is going to get you such an amazing product. And we have somebody that's out there in the world that's creating like that. It makes me super happy. Makes me sad because he's got thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and like one of his rigs, I don't even know where to begin on for me and stuff. He has a full van.
Yeah.
Like a full van that he rolls up to that's completely, that he goes in and edit. He has an editor on there, so they're editing a teaser while he's filming.
Yeah.
Like,
so I implemented
so
a
cool.
version of that literally because of him, because of just how inspirational I thought that was. And so normally when I have a second shooter, I will actually go during the reception and I'll take my wonderful MacBook Pro and I'll sit in the back and I will edit them same day sneak peeks.
Yeah.
While my second shooter is on the dance floor. And I'll take granted this is my highest package. I don't do this for everyone.
Yeah.
You have to have two people for it to work. And so what I'll do is I'll actually edit normally like 15 and 20 photos.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get a little carried away. And then I'll put them on my iPad. And then I'll actually set it up as a slideshow. So then the guests, you have to gauge who the guests are, but then the guests can be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, like who are you?
Yeah.
And then you give them your business card. And
Yeah.
you're like, here, come to me when you get
I want to do that and I don't want to do that. It's very, that because me, I'm, there's so many of those that you have to have a team. 100%. And I know this last year is the first year that I actually included a second shooter in all my packages, and I work with Hannah Rogers, which is HMR Images, and she loves it because she doesn't want to primarily shoot. She just wants to second shoot. So like her and I, we have a good relationship of, I could tell her something, she's like, yep, I'm on it. And she has a good eye, and then she loved the Sony so much that she upgraded this year. So like, we just did that wedding on Saturday. Almost every single one that she did was like focused, crisp, everything. And last time it wasn't her fault. She was just working on a tool that just could not keep up. And she would do like a lot of the things, like the static stuff, but like fast stuff during the ceremony or stuff like that, she could never get in focus enough time. And now this time I'm just like, oh, we're going to be just fine this year.
Your
and so
is truly so valuable when it comes to what you do, because if you have good equipment, you're going to get the best of us. I shoot solely on Canon. My team shoots on Canon. That's kind of my thing. And I feel like once you get with a brand, you just kind of stick with it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to adjust your editing and stuff when you're with a different brand. But
they all have pros and cons. I'm not a hater to like any of them and stuff,
Absolutely.
to be honest.
No, not at all. But so I shoot with the Canon R5.
Yeah.
And it is a beast.
It's the beast.
It is such a beast. love it. I mean, I wouldn't change my setup
Yeah.
for the world, but it's insane how expensive all equipment is.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
like, we have ours insured just because it's so
Yeah.
much money.
Yeah. And it was interesting because we was talking the other night. We was talking about lens rental and stuff too. I mean, I used that 2 years ago. My second shooter didn't even have a camera, so I had to
Yeah.
rent one every single time. And I probably used them, I think, 20 times in a year. And by the 10th time, they called me and was like, hey, we're going to give you a discount on this because you're literally going to need it next week, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. So they had a really good, I mean, their customer service, and they're not that big, too. A lot of people think that they're massive. They're just in Nashville, Tennessee. And
Yeah, so they actually just merged with Borrow Lenses as well.
oh, okay, that's
So
good
they
then.
are a lot bigger now.
Yeah, that's good though.
It's crazy because I solely did Borrow Lenses, and then they actually merged
Yeah.
together, so now it's just Lens Rental.
I love it though.
And so they're a lot bigger than what they used to be, and I agree. Their customer
Yeah.
service is out of this world. And so my entire feed, I shoot Canon RF 51.2. The 1.2 is insane,
Mm-hmm.
and once you get down to that aperture and that, I mean, like,
Yeah.
you really cannot go back.
Yeah,
And-
that's how I feel with the
Yeah.
85.
Yeah, and it's hard
so-
to go back and like Haley Abbott, she just got the RF 85 1.2, and it is truly unreal.
So creamy in the bokeh.
It
Like
is.
it's
It is.
we're obsessed with it
Yeah,
and stuff.
and
So
I mean, like, it's really hard for me to go back to any other lens.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of people who love the 35, and I used to be one
Yeah.
of those people until they came out with the 51.2, and
Yeah.
it quite literally changed my life. And from lens rentals, like, if my associates don't have a 50, I'll always rent it.
Right.
Because I think if you're gonna run a team, you need to train them.
yeah.
And you should not just be coming in with anybody.
Yeah.
You know, they should be vetted through a certain amount of time. You should train them how you shoot because you're promising your quality of work. And I think that sometimes some people forget that, you know, it's your name on the line. It's not your associates. It is your name on the line. It's my name on the line. And I promise a certain quality of work, and I will never just take anyone. You
Yeah.
know, I train my associates for sometimes months.
Yeah.
To specifically train like me. Because
Yeah.
you're gonna shoot how I shoot if you're gonna be on my team.
Yeah. And the only reason why I'm smiling is because I learned it the hard way.
Yeah.
And exactly what you're saying. And it was that's how I kind of met Hannah. It was kind of like out of a situation and stuff, and but Hannah kind of like jumped right on board. Autumn referred me because I guess she shot with Autumn a lot, and she was like, "No, you're gonna like Hannah because she's just kind of like she's very chill vibes and just like very
Yeah.
good." And we did one wedding and we just clicked, and we was just like, "Okay, like this is great."
That's
And
what should be.
yeah, and it's just like I trust her like with any shot. I'm like, at first I was like, "Can I see it?" You know, and she's like, "Oh yeah, no problem," and stuff. But I also felt bad because I didn't, you know, trust her at that point. But now I'm just like, "Hey, you got it?" And I was like, she's like, "Yep." I was like, "Okay, cool." And then I'm off here
Absolutely.
doing something, and then I go back and I'm just like, "Oh, great!" And like I literally texted her on Sunday. I was like, "You killed it, by the way. Just
Yeah,
you
and
killed it." And so,
that level of validation
Mhm.
for second shooters is so important because I have associates and they're truly so talented at what they do, and I have one and I feel like she's just really hard on herself, and I feel like as a creator it's very easy to be hard on yourself, especially in this industry where it is so saturated. Imposter syndrome can really get to you, and I feel like I'm always reminding her that, hey, you are your own worst critic and you are so talented at what you do. And I feel like I also need to remind myself of that because we talk about that so often, just how easy it is to get in that mindset. And it's so important that you validate your team because you want people that are going to work for you that value what they do.
yeah. So your teams and your associates and stuff. So kind of like explain to like myself and like the viewers because I don't have like associates, so I don't exactly know what that term means for you in a sense. I've always just dealt with like second shooters, and that's about it. So like kind of like dive into that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Again, just gotta say that I'm very fortunate and blessed because my team is truly, they're so talented. But I think it's important that your team is small. I think if you are going to be the sole person editing everything, because I edit everything, I edit photo and video.
Okay.
And that's my favorite part, is editing. So I love having a team because of that, because they can go to a wedding and I'm still a part of it on the back end. You know, I coordinate with the bride the entire time. I coordinate with the wedding planners, and I give them a ton of things, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But I think it's so important to have a small team, because once you get into having such a massive team, you're going to get overwhelmed, and then you're potentially going to breach contract because of how long it takes to get everything back.
Yeah.
And you don't want that. You want all of your clients to be happy and have a great customer service experience.
Yeah.
But so let's see. So in terms of running a team, how that looks like is I really started training people as second shooters. And once I got confident enough, I would actually let them take over certain parts at a wedding. And I would kind of, you know, just be in the background, but let them take lead and see how it went. And there were a lot of people that did apply for my team, and I was very selective. And I think it really boils down to who is really gonna vibe with you the most, and who is going to take your personality and replicate that to your clients.
Yeah. And I'll also say, like, who you can actually, like, know this going to show up.
Absolutely. It's truly all about trust. And so right now I have 2 lead photo associates. And one is a very, very well-known professional photographer. She's wonderful. We love Peyton. Shout out. And then I have another one. Her name is Brianna, and she's also amazing. But she kind of just enjoys working for me. And, you know, that's the best part of associating for someone is you really just go and you show up on the day of. And the day of might be a little stressful, but I always try to set my team up for success. So whenever I approach an associate about doing a specific wedding for me, you know, I always make sure that they're available. And then I have a massive notes file of everything they need to succeed. Because if you are not setting your team up to succeed, they're gonna fail. You know, and you have to have that foundation for them. So once they are like ready to go, I send them with the address, the amount of coverage, what they're gonna have for dinner. I mean, like literally everything you can think of. So I include my questionnaire, I include a shot list because I require every bride to give me a shot list. That is a non-negotiable for me. Just because there's so many things that I wouldn't think about that would be important that are important to the bride and groom. And so it's very important to do a shot list. And then I also include the timeline. And so really just being able to have that for them, it really eliminates any type of stress that they have to figure out. And I try to include like a point of contact as well. Sometimes it's the wedding planner, sometimes it's like the mother of the bride, whoever it needs to be. I always ask that on my questionnaire. But being able to have all of that and set them up for success is really how your team is going to work. Because if you don't have that, I mean, imagine showing up to a wedding and only knowing what time you're supposed to get there. It would be stressful.
I have. Yeah. Yeah, I have. Yeah, you're hitting all the really good points, because I think a lot of the things that this last year was the first year that so I do FaceTimes or I do phone calls with all my clients, and then I do that before they even pay the deposit and book and stuff. And for one, I want to make sure that they are on the same page and stuff. Out of all the ways I've shot, I've only had 2 problemsome, was that a word? English major?
Yeah. It's a word.
Okay. The clients, and the rest of them has been completely on the same page and has understand me and stuff. And I think being like that, like I wasn't full time either. So like now being full time, I'm seeing it in a very different mindset. But I include my own shot list, but I make it into a Google Doc, and then I have them edit anything that they want to.
Yeah, so that's similar to what I do. I have a guide, and I tell them you can straight up copy it if you want.
Right.
But just make it yours.
Yep. And then I do that, and then I always request an itinerary, because I have shot a lot of weddings where they think I'm the wedding planner as well, and I'm just like, I shoot photos,
Yeah.
and I don't know, which I don't mind it because it kind of gives me a little bit more control of like, okay, well, this is how the light should be and stuff.
Absolutely.
I literally just had that happen this weekend, and they asked, they was wanting to do it at 6:30 was the reception, and I was like, I don't. No, that was their ceremony. Sorry. So, and I was like, nah, I wouldn't do it like that late. Let's try to do like 5. If it's super small, you're gonna be done in the 10 minutes, and it gives us 45 minutes to do some
Yeah,
cocktail
that's
hours and shots. And she was like, imagine if we did that at 6:30. And I was like, I mean, I'm not gonna say that I've done these, but I've done these, and
Also, yeah. And it's stressful because you only have a certain amount of time
Yeah.
with golden hour before it turns into blue hour, and then it turns into pitch dark.
yeah. And I've had it's like I like May and September. They're like my favorite months to shoot weddings in because usually that golden hour is just like it's perfect for me, and it's not super hot yet, so people's not as cranky and sweaty, and you want to get good pictures, and you don't want the groom to be like not have his jacket or unbuttoned and stuff like that. That's like one of the biggest things that I'm just like, no, if we do all these pictures now during the good light, you guys can change, you can do whatever you want, and a lot of people's like, oh, we didn't even think about that. Oh, we should probably get an extra set of clothes or something. I was like, yeah, and stuff. So like, I've already kind of like decided in my retirement plan is that we're not going to be like landlords or anything like that. My wife and I is going to own a wedding venue.
I was literally saying this yesterday.
Yeah.
That is my retirement plan.
Yeah.
It is because like I love all things wedding. I love wedding planning.
Yeah.
I really want to offer it. I don't know how that would look like, but I feel like I already do it anyways. Like what we're talking about.
I'm telling you what though, we've had kind of these like side conversation stuff too in Discord about it, and Stacy was talking about it the other day. She's like, you need to do a meetup because you're so good about getting people together. And I was like, why do I have to do it and stuff? And she was like kind of volunteered me in it. But when I build this hypothetical venue is before we're even laying anything down, I'm inviting like 20 photographers on the
Oh, absolutely.
thing. I'm just like, okay, where would you shoot? Because the thing is, like, photographers are
their input is so valuable.
they're free advertisement for your venue.
Yeah.
Like most of the venues I go to, like if they tag the location, that's how I'm seeing how I'm going to shoot. I'm like, oh, okay, they did a golden hour here, they did this, and when I show up, I'm like, yep, that's where I'm going. And then, so I do that. So many of these venues have had. I just feel like there's always something. At least one thing wrong with all of it. It'd be a beautiful venue, but at least one thing's wrong. Like one would be great, but then their bathroom's not big enough, or they have a huge area for the bride, but the groom doesn't have a single place to get ready at. And there's so many of that. I'm just like, well, if you're going to be building this, why are you thinking it's just the bride's day? Why are you thinking it's just this? If you're wanting to do more, you're thinking about seasons. It's going to be hot. One little box air conditioner is not going to fill up when 70 people's in there or more. Catering, like kitchen area and stuff. So like, there's a lot that goes into it.
There is, and really, I will say like implementing a team really helps with that. And so, as of now, I have my fiance, which I don't really consider him an associate because he's also a lead with me, and we do it all the time. So when he's not doing videography with me, he is my second shooter, and it's really fun getting to work together and travel with him. But so as of now, I have 2 photo associates, and I also have 2 video associates. And so one video associate I've trained, Ava, she's awesome, and then another video associate, he is very well known, and I love him. His name is Austin Leathers. He's so talented.
Yeah.
And so it's really fun because having a team allows you to not only support yourself, but it allows you to support other people. And I think that is so huge in this industry, is like finding those connections and really knowing, who's going to do a great job and who you can trust. And so like I have a wedding in Miami, And I unfortunately
just Miami.
Just Miami. It's a gorgeous
Yeah.
venue, and I'm going to have a wedding the day after here. So my associates are actually getting flown to Miami.
That's awesome.
And they're so excited.
Yeah.
And so Peyton, Austin, they're both going to go because it's a photo video wedding.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a blast. And so like
Yeah.
being able to be like, yeah, dude, I get to send my associates to Miami. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
I was just reached out last night actually to be flown to Delaware, but it's not for a wedding. I'm having a whole conversation with this person, and I was like, yeah, like this would be awesome because like I'm familiar with up there because I just went to Maine for an engagement session, so I was like I know where to fly into and stuff, and they was like, oh, we just wanted you to do our family photos. Is that okay? And I'm thinking to myself,
You're going to fly me for family photos?
yeah, and I was like, hey, I'll do it, but I've never done it, you know, so it feels
Yeah.
feels like I'm taking advantage of them, you know, and it's just like,
they want your expertise and they want your style.
yeah, yeah,
Hop on that.
yeah,
Now I will say, like I tell people all the time, I will never do family photos.
yeah,
And I do seniors. I feel like I don't do them as much anymore because I'm really trying to just focus down on weddings and couples. 'Cause that is truly where my heart lies.
yeah,
But I always tell people when they come to me because I have a lot of people that ask for family photos, and I don't feel right doing something if I am not experienced in that area.
what? It's just
Same
like,
way with newborns.
yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, that episode with Josie, I was telling her, and I was like, I send everyone to you because I know
Literally.
you are taking care of them,
Absolutely.
you know, and
she
so,
does such a phenomenal job at what she does.
yeah.
I know that I could never live up to that level because I don't have knowledge in that
Yeah.
area. And so any family
Also-
or newborn, I always
Yeah.
send it to her.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know any guy photographers that does
Yeah.
newborn, and I don't want to be known as that either.
Babies kind of freak me out.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like babies. I just don't want to take pictures of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
and
I can totally understand that.
I don't want to mix and mingle like some of my content and then have like a baby and stuff.
Absolutely.
Now, I will say I've done families, and the ones that I do is 9 out of 10 times they're the people I know or I've shot their weddings for.
Yeah.
And
So
those,
I will say
yeah,
I do a lot of my past brides'
Yeah.
families, but they know that I don't do family
yes,
photos
yeah,
often.
yeah,
But if you are a previous bride of mine, I really do enjoy being
Yeah.
able to be a part of their life. So in certain scenarios, I will.
yeah. This one couple, I've done their engagement, their wedding, their maternity, their first family photo, and then they're about to have a second, and I'm about to do the maternity in July, I think. Yeah, July.
That's awesome.
So, but they're also a family that I don't have to worry about a single thing.
Yeah.
They are so happy. She will text me sometimes out of the blue and be like, oh, I watched your video, so good. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, oh, behind the scenes, it's so good. I'm so proud of you, Q, and stuff. And I'm just like,
Well, those are the types of
Yeah,
clients
that's a-
that you really
yeah.
love, and you build such a foundation and a
Yeah.
relationship with them that it's hard to let go of that. So being
Yeah.
able to have that, you're like, absolutely.
yeah. Well, it's just the stress part that I know that if I take a photo or do anything, like they're going to be happy just because of like my style and who I am. And it's not going to be like, cause I mean, I've dealt with some families with, it has been just a struggle, you know, and I'm just like, I don't want to deal with this. Like, so, and I think that's another thing too, is like by the time they get there and I'm doing their either maternity or family photo, they've already seen me like shoot like twice before that. They've already got a gallery twice already. Like they've already got maybe their wedding video, so they know, they should know what my work is about
Right.
at that time and stuff. That's why like when Megan does the family stuff, I text her, I was
she
like,
kills it.
yeah, and she's done our Christmas photos for the last 5 years, and I tell her, I was like, you know, you got it. You just got to, you know,
Yeah.
this is your stuff. When somebody posts a photo, there's a lot of photographers that has such a unique style. Kevin Young, when he posts something, when you post something, you're scrolling, you don't even have to look who did it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yep, Yep. And then I'm
And
liking
it's so
stuff.
good to have that unique style because if someone could sit there and be like, wow, I want that.
Yeah.
That is what I want. And I mean, like we were talking kind of off camera as well when I came in, and we were just talking about how like your style really does set you apart. And like, you know, you can have so many friends in this industry, and I don't really even look at them as competition because we're all so different. And this market is so saturated too, you know?
Yeah, so those type of clients are like really great to just have and to always just have like in your portfolio and stuff too.
Absolutely.
But I know, yeah, I think that's the only one that I've done where it's like the all the way through and stuff. But like I'm kind of with you. I like couples and I like weddings. I like portraits though. But they don't make money. Like they're yeah. Yeah.
It really is.
I love portraits of like when like I just did a golden hour session 2 weeks ago. And a girl was like in a bikini and it was like that perfect golden hour and stuff.
Right.
And I'm just like, for me, that is just like when you get that good light and you put that your edit onto it and then you're like looking at all these like little things in it, I'm just like, oh yeah, that's it and stuff.
Yeah.
But that didn't make me a single dime, you know. And she came to me about a year ago and wanted to shoot, and we just finally got together because of timing and stuff. And told her, I was like, well, I'm gonna do this, and then like here in a couple of weeks, let's do it. Like if you want to do like a YouTube video. So I'm trying to think of like, okay, how can I like recycle content and stuff. She's like, yeah, for sure. So I just kind of like let her do that one for free. That way we could just kind of like shoot and connect and stuff. And she loved it afterwards. She was like, yeah, you're my photographer now. I was like, yes. So like that was so cool. Yeah.
I will say I do think it's important in this industry to niche down. Having a niche is truly so important because when I go to a profile and there is like 50 different million things that they do, it's really hard to be like, okay, so like where's all of the wedding content? And so one of the things that I did, because I have separate Instagram, so I do a lot of boudoir as well for my brides, and I love it. But I have a separate Instagram for each thing because I think it's really important if you're going to do seniors to have all your senior content together. If you're going to do boudoir, have it all together. If you're going to do weddings, have it all together. So then when people come to your profile, they're not confused.
Yeah, plus it's also good that you can just send them one profile. And it's just like, yeah, here's your portfolio is your profile at that point.
Absolutely. And like, yeah, it's annoying having like different profiles and having to post on different things, but I feel like it's more annoying from a client perspective to be confused about what you do. And I think that having a niche is really so important.
Yeah.
It really is, especially in this industry, because I mean, like, if you're wanting to attract very high-end clientele, you kind of have to attract a certain niche, and you have to attract that. And you have to make sure your portfolio is golden.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, actually. Yeah, because that's one thing I did notice. Because like your boudoir page, and you know, I like it too because you actually put right in the profile that is ladies only.
Yes.
And I think that's a very good way, because I have even told some of my models and stuff as a guy, it's just like you want to make sure that they're not, that they're confident that they will want their stuff to be posted.
Absolutely.
Because
their comfortability is the ultimate goal.
Yeah. And I've had some where in the moment they was fine, but then like a couple years later they'd be like, hey, you know, like I was wondering if you remove that. I'm just like, yeah, sure. Yeah. Because I'm not going to like fight on something like that. Because I'm just like, I'd care about somebody else's like well-being in a sense. And I was like, yeah, for me it's like another challenge. I'm like, okay, great. I'll just have to give a better shot. And I shoot better now than 2 years ago anyway.
Absolutely.
And but I like the fact that that's private because it just I like that.
I really don't post on it a lot, but it is literally just there for potential clients
Yeah.
and brides that have booked with me to be like, hey, this is exactly how it's going to go.
Yeah.
This is some of the stuff that you might do, or these are some of the poses you might do,
Yeah.
depending on your comfortability. And I always ask that in my questionnaire because like their do's and don'ts are so important when it comes to boudoir.
Well, and this is going to go into a really good thing as well. So I was searching for that a couple weeks ago and stuff too on YouTube, and I couldn't find a good style guide that was coming from a male's perspective.
Yeah.
And stuff. So like the do's and don'ts of what a woman would say is not going to be exactly the same as the do's and don'ts as a guy. So like that's going to be like one of my next projects. I'm actually two girls that I've already shot with. They're going to help me out in a sense of just like basic posing on it. But I want to do it where I have a couple photographers like there as well, and we're just like, okay, I'm talking about it, and then they're kind of like talking through it, and then more of just a very thorough educational, video coming from a male's perspective and stuff. Because the thing is, like, yeah, we can create really awesome things, but it's like for me, it's very hard for me to like tell them to get into a certain pose without just sounding like a guy. You know what I mean? And the girl that I shot with stuff, I was trying to explain that to her, and she's like, do you just want me to do it like this? And she kind of like explained. I was like, yeah, but I don't want to say that and stuff. And she was like, I'll do it, it's fine and stuff. I was like, okay. And I just sat
I'm
there
sure, like being a male, I'm sure it's a lot different too, because I feel like I'm so direct when I don't want to necessarily say posing someone, because I joke all the time that I do like promptology.
Yeah.
Because I would much rather do prompts versus posing.
Yeah.
Because I think that prompts are so much more natural.
Yeah.
And like circling back to like wedding photography, doing prompts it's more genuine, and I feel like it's more natural for them rather than me being like, okay, now kiss, and then look at me. I think having a prompt is so much more valuable than.
I just started this really cool shot. I've only done it like 3 times. But you know how I told you a little bit of spice, so I do this shot that's over top of the bride's shoulder. They're like kind of like, I just say love each other, so they're loving each other. The hand is on the left shoulder, and I said, okay, you're gonna slide down, you're gonna go across the lapel, then you're gonna grab his tie and bring in. So it's like this little bit.
So good for video too, like just having those small details.
That last, the very first one I did, I think that was one of my favorite shots of that wedding this year, and I was like more excited about that because to me, I'm just like, that's hot, because it's like it's telling so much of a story without even showing their faces, and people's just like, oh, people just can't mind their business, and so they always you put that curiosity in there, and I'm just like, got them, and stuff. But I just did that with some video, and I think that's going to be something that I include in a lot of my shots. This because it's also hard too when you have different body types, different types of height, personalities. There's some people that gets married and you're just like, y'all like, are you sure this happening and stuff? And then some people just check the box. They hire you just to hire you, and you learn that really quick within the first couple of minutes that you're there and stuff.
And I think what we talked about, that is so important when it comes to consultation calls before they even book you. I'm at the point where now that I have a team, I am kind of at the point where I can say no, and kind of take on what I want. Yeah. And I feel like
it's okay to say no.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. And I mean, I joke with Stacey all the time. No is a full sentence. It is, It is. It is okay to say no in this industry, regardless of what everyone else has told you. It's okay to say no. Yeah. And I think that business owners, it's hard for us to put our foot down sometimes and just say no. But I obviously worded it really nicely, and I think that if you don't feel like you're going to be a good fit for those clients, it is so important for not only you, but for them to be like, hey, you know what? I don't feel like I'm going to be best suited for you. Here are some great people that I would recommend for you that would be better suited.
I've done that a couple times. I really have. And it can be an awkward conversation, but I did that. And they ended up, I booked their her sister was actually a lot nicer, and I ended up doing her wedding, which is fine. Like it worked out, but like there wasn't it was just, I thought it was gonna be, I was making it awkward, but like I was just honest with them, and I was like, I don't know if I could do this because there's such a quick turnaround and stuff. And what it was I had it was gonna be my first like back-to-back wedding, but like they wanted me all the way up in that Saturday I was supposed to be up in Maine. They wanted me the Friday before. And they was just like, well, we'll work everything out, and then you can leave, like, and make sure you catch a flight. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this.
It's hard.
And I was like,
it is possible.
Yeah,
it's hard.
I just don't like. That's the first time. I was like, oh my gosh, and I was part time too.
Yeah.
So that meant I had to take off most likely a Thursday and a Friday just to prep myself.
Yeah, I will say I've done a lot of overnight flights, so it is possible. I had a wedding last year. It was actually a back-to-back wedding weekend. So I had a wedding here at the Salt Works on a Thursday, and I drove to Pittsburgh. I had a wedding on Friday in Pittsburgh, and then I flew Saturday morning to Chicago from Pittsburgh, super early in the morning, and I had a wedding in Chicago. And then the next day I flew to Canada. So it's possible.
Yeah.
It's just stressful and very time-consuming and exhausting.
Yeah, I also feel better now because I've flown by myself and I've flown with my wife, so like I've gotten the mix of both. And my very first flight was that flight to Hawaii, so I kind of jumped right into the deep end with it. We went from here to Chicago to LA to there, and it was 18 hours, and then it was 22 hours on the way back. And it was on the way back, I didn't know at the time, but I had COVID. And as soon as I got back, I was like, is this what jet lag is? And I was like so confused. And I was like, no, this is COVID. And I felt like I was about to die. It was because it was the first time I got it. So I was just like,
yeah, so you weren't really aware.
No. Yeah. And my wife, she didn't have a sniffle. And I was like, oh, I'm so confused. She just stayed out in the living room. And then I was like dying in the bedroom. And I was like, I'm never flying again and stuff. But it was super cool. It was and then that same day too, I got my first tattoo, which is a cheeseburger on my thigh, because it's cheeseburger in paradise. And so and when I was getting sick, I told my mom, and my mom said, she's like, you probably got something from the tattoo. I was like, no, I didn't. Like it was clean, it was fine. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I got COVID, and that's not how you get COVID and stuff. And so it was like, that was a very huge opening of like travel and stuff for me. And then when I went up to Maine, I booked that one, hopped on there. I flew from here to Charlotte to Boston. And Boston's airport, have you been to Boston?
I'll be there this weekend.
For the first time?
Yes.
Okay, so it is big.
Yes.
It's very big. Just breathe through it, and you'll be you'll probably be fine. But anyway,
dude, I joke all the time. Atlanta's like my favorite airport.
Yeah.
It's massive.
Yeah.
I love it. There's a Chick-fil-A in every terminal. How can you not love that?
I kind of airports are cool. Like that was like some of my favorite places. Like just sitting there watching everybody was like kind of neat.
So yeah, and like I feel like this really ties into destination wedding photography too, because you have to fly. You know, like a lot of it is not just being able to drive. You know, you do have to fly. And I feel like there's certain things, like especially with like do's and don'ts with airports, and I think that being able to travel, especially for content days and stuff, practicing your travel helps so much.
And that's when I told my wife about Joshua Tree, and she was like, "Oh, I would like to go," and I was like, "Come on," and stuff. So we'll probably have to figure something out with that. Not saying that I don't want to take her on stuff like that, but when I'm thinking, I'm ready to just hop in the car and go. You know, when I did that to Maine, it was fine because it was like a day she couldn't get off. But like when I went to Hawaii, I told her, and I was like, I didn't include it in the contract. I just got like mine, and then she was like, well, you're saving up, so because you're not going to Hawaii without me. And I was like, okay, and stuff. But it all turned out and stuff good. But that's something that I learned from it is like, when I'm booking those type of weddings, I have a different contract for it and stuff, and it's pretty beefy. But I'm just like, I tell them, I was like, listen, this is the things that I didn't even know about
Absolutely.
that you learn. And it's like, okay, for prime example, you get to Hawaii, gas isn't $3 like it is here. It's like
No.
$8, $7, $8
A
sometimes.
gallon of milk is literally almost $10.
Yeah. So it's like I put in $120 in our Subaru, and I was just like, oh, I'll just fill up the tank and we'll
We drove
go.
around a 15-passenger van.
Yeah.
So imagine
Yeah.
the cost. It was horrendous.
Yeah. So it was like little things like that. I'm just like, if you are, that food, you got to have a car, your airplane ticket.
You really have to do a lot of research beforehand. Before you even send the quote for travel.
Yeah.
And like I will say, I think one of the best things to do to make it seem like you're like helping the clients out, a great selling point I feel like for me is I have 2 separate pricing guides. My West Virginia pricing is not going to be the same as my out of state.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what I was. Yeah. Now if I'm out of if I'm in Kentucky or just across the border, I don't do it. But that's why I told him, I was like, the Delaware, I was like, well, for this is going to be there's.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just a family session, so it's but I have to have a car and I have to have a Airbnb and I have to have a airplane ticket.
Yeah.
So
And, I mean, I'm such a firm believer that there are so many people that are people won't pay that price. And I'm like, yes, they will. My Puerto Rico client, I've been super excited because it was the first ever 10 grand client I had.
Oh.
People will pay.
Yeah.
They will. If they value your work and they are excited and they can see that you are truly creative and artistic in what you do, people will pay for a specific style. So don't ever sell yourself short. Yeah. Ever. And I think that it's so important to have those different pricing guides. And so if you're outside of West Virginia, you automatically get a higher pricing. Even if it's Ohio, even if it's Kentucky, Pennsylvania, you get a higher pricing guide. And a lot of the time for out west, depending on where it is, obviously, sometimes it's very easy to just factor in travel into that package, and it's really easy to make a custom package for them so that it looks like, okay, well, how much for travel? And be like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's already in there.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot because like I said, you going full time. This is the first time I've had I have an accountant. I do everything through QuickBooks now. I do my galleries through PixieSet. I wasn't doing any of that before. I was, but I wasn't.
Right.
And it was just in the last 2 months, it has been not a struggle or anything like that. It's just the way I'm looking at it is the way I say, okay, it's me now. Okay. I have to learn this. If I want to succeed.
You have to have a good customer, not only customer service, but a good workflow. Because if you don't have a good workflow, I mean, it's going to be not only confusing for you, but it's going to be confusing for your clients.
Yeah. And that's the thing. When I was part-time, I wasn't struggling on galleries, but it was not anywhere where I was doing. So I would give them the raws, and then they would choose which ones that they would want edited. So they had to supply me back with an edit list, and then I would edit as many as they wanted. But they had to do it. Well, some clients take forever to go through those. So I'm not doing that now and stuff. No. I have PixieSet and I have the unlimited version. So what I'm doing is, okay, if I shoot a wedding that's 4,000 photos, you're going to get at least 1,500, at least, but that's most likely if everything is going to go well. But I mean, I'm trying to get that down to always 1,000.
Yeah. So the best thing for that is narrative select.
That's what. So Cole was trying to tell me about it last night, but I'll be completely honest with you. I think he was stoned, so he was going through a whole different.
Well, stoned or not, he got it.
He was like, I can't figure it out, and I was like, I don't know. He uses Lightroom Classic too.
Yeah, I do as well.
Yeah, I use regular Lightroom and stuff. Yeah, you don't like it?
No, Lightroom Classic is a lot better.
Really?
LRC. Mm-hmm.
Does it crash on you?
No. Not really. I think it's a lot easier to use masks and different things, and I have a lot of brushes that I use especially for rings to make them pop even more. And so I think that having that and being able to do masks.
Well, see, I do that as well.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
Is one just a mobile? Is it for?
No, there's 2 versions for desktop.
Yeah, I don't know why.
There's Lightroom and Lightroom Classic.
Yeah.
And I swear by Lightroom Classic and the LRC version. I love it. And then Narrative Select, it's free.
Yeah.
You can pay for the free version or the paid version, obviously. One of my really good friends, Andrea, pays for the paid version. And it's really helpful, especially when it comes to wedding parties, because you can actually pull up their faces side by side and see who's in focus and who's not. You can see who blinked. You can see who didn't blink. And so it really helps when calling. And my fiance, he's wonderful. He will automatically, after a wedding, he'll import all my images, he'll section them for me, and then he'll call through them. And Narrative Select really allows us to keep up with our workflow. I can get a full gallery, full 10-hour wedding gallery out in a week if I need to. Because having a system that really works for you is really beneficial.
Yeah.
And going through with Narrative Select and sectioning them into different sections, you do a section a day, you can get that out in less than a week.
Well, that's pretty darn interesting. Well, and that's the thing too. Last month, I have been so open about doing different things because Dropbox, for one, I was running out of space. 2, it wasn't being professional in my sense. You know, it was doing what I needed to, but I was just like trying to find it. But I bit the bullet on the Pixie set, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna get that unlimited because I know I overshoot, I over edit anyway. So I was like, oh, I don't want anything to worry about space ever. And the unlimited version, like, it offers a lot of really cool things.
No, it does.
So
I use QuickTime.
Yeah.
I will be ending my subscription as soon as Session comes out with sections for wedding galleries. Because Session is, I swear by it, I literally have a referral link.
You was talking about it and stuff too. So
wonderful. But they just came out with galleries, and so I actually have access to the beta version of their gallery, so it's not even completely finished yet. But for seniors, portraits, boudoir, I always do it on Session, and then just my wedding galleries are on QuickTime until they upgrade it. But I think I tell people a lot in my mentorships that if you are going to sit there and if you are going to charge a lot of money, you are looked at as a luxury experience. And I always tell my brides, like, when you book with me, you're not just booking a vendor. Like, you are booking stability. You are booking someone who can take control. And it is truly a luxury being able to book someone where you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about if someone's a scam. You don't have to worry about if I'll show up. You don't have to worry about if I'll have to help you with the timeline, because you know I will. And being able to book someone and have that high clientele you have to have in terms of an experience, you have to have somewhat of a luxury and professional experience, because that experience is really what the client sees. And so being able to have that, whether it's Pixie Set or PickTime or Cloud Swap, there's so many different things, and like there's Narrative Select, there's Photo Mechanic, there's tons of programs that can really enhance your process and make it so much better. And I mean, like, there's so many AI things now, like Topaz Labs AI. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah,
It's
AI, man.
so helpful. It really is. And I mean, like,
I literally just showed Cole last night because he was doing the clone stamp and just edit, and he was like going through this. I was like, dude, just throw it in AI, please, and stuff.
So
and he was like, I just don't know anything about it. So, or however he talks, or you know what I mean. But I showed him. I was like, no. So this is another reason why I love Discord for us as well, because I shared my screen and he was watching me. I said, it's 5 steps. We did it in 50 seconds.
Yeah.
And he was like, I've been sitting here for about 15 minutes trying to do it. And I was like,
absolutely. And
little things, it does, like the bokeh part of it and little things like that, it does it perfectly. Some things it still needs to be tweaked on, but you just have to.
Really need to upgrade their faces. Have you seen?
Yeah. I have a whole YouTube video of it. I did a photo and I was like standing at the beach scene, and I just said put a beach. Well, it took some of the girls' features and created a whole like monster, and I was like, well, and you'll see like a live reaction of it. It was like, well, that's not what I wanted, guys, and stuff. But I said just extend the beach. I mean, it looks just like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
but really having that AI, especially so like for videography, like we do also use AI when it enhances like the stability and different things like that, and the stabilization. It's so helpful. And like the denoise AI in Lightroom that they recently came out with, it is just unreal.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if you're not using those features, obviously everybody's going to have a different process. You know, I'm not sitting here saying that my process is the top tier or anything. It's just what works for me.
Yeah.
And I think that if AI is out there, I think it should be utilized. And I think that it really will enhance your work.
Well, I think interesting conversation, because when I was working for Glenville and stuff, they was talking about AI a lot, and people using ChatGPT and this stuff.
Oh,
and
I swear by
and
ChatGPT.
yeah, but I said no, it's a new tool and no one knows how to use it or control it in the sense that they're scared. But I was like, listen, what was one of the very first AIs that we've ever had? And they sat there and was like, well, I don't know. I was like, well, spell check.
Yeah.
I was like, now we can't live without it.
Absolutely.
And so are you going to discredit somebody that writes a full paper, misspells every word even though you know what the word is, but they go on and then they use spell check and they fixed it? You want to discredit them? And they was like, no, that's the whole day. I was like, then you better be excited that somebody's using a tool to do it. Whether now, if they just wrote a full paper on AI and then just sent it in and didn't have no structure,
absolutely.
but I'm just like saying like things like brainstorming,
Right.
and I use it to like think about like blog posts and stuff. Like you can literally go in there and be like, you know, write a blog post about how important it is to have a second shooter during your wedding or something like that.
You can learn your style and how you talk
Yeah.
as well, because you can literally be like, reword that.
Yeah.
In like a neutral tone.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy,
Yeah.
especially like I feel like so many people were so stressed when AI came out. Like the beta version for Photoshop when it came out.
Oh,
so
yeah.
many people were like, oh my gosh, like our jobs are going to be like on the line. And I'm like, baby, no, they're not. Like, again, if you have a certain style, people are going to value that style.
Yeah.
You just have to find those people.
Yeah, those people that were worried is people that has always been insecure of their work in general and stuff,
Oh my
and they're
gosh,
just
yeah.
looking for another thing to complain about, in a sense. Because if you go look at this, those same people, they will also complain that they don't have the right gear, they don't have the right clients, they don't have this, they don't have that. I'm just like,
My fiance's
not the
favorite
case.
thing to do is getting on Reddit. And, and he loves to look at the beginner photography posts.
yeah,
And like, I don't want to sit here and discredit anybody. I think
Yeah.
it's great when people learn photography, but it's not an overnight thing. And sometimes it's
Yeah.
it's so funny just like looking at some of the posts and some of the comments and how blunt they are.
yeah,
And it really comes down to like knowing manual. And he showed me one the other day where it was like completely out of focus. And they were like, I don't know why my camera's not focusing. And one of the comments were like, have you tried autofocus?
Mhm.
And they were like, no, it works now. And it's well,
It was
you
just
know?
like, yeah, I don't know. I've been shooting. When I started shooting, I'm the type of person, if I didn't know the answer, I would immediately like Google or like YouTube.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I was like, it frustrated me that I had a tool that I knew that was really good and it wasn't doing what I needed to, and I still do it every single day. Like I'm like, okay, how do I color grade this? How do I export this? How do I do this? That's how I'm learning. That's how I'm processing. You can't just pick up a camera and take a photo
Yeah.
and then 8 months later expect to improve on your
Oh
phone.
my
You know what I
gosh,
mean? Like,
yeah.
I have
mean,
to shoot
4 years
every-
later for
yeah.
me, and I'm still figuring
Yeah.
out stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
I'm shooting every day. And that's the reason why and that's the thing, like you look at my work now compared to just a year ago.
Absolutely.
And I'm just like, why would I ever post that? Why did I even sell that to a client? Why did I even think? And so it's like, okay, well, 5 years from now, like what's going to happen? Am I going to have like the same year?
Yeah.
Am I going to like get, am I going to get like a black magic camera or like red
Yeah.
camera that's going to be doing all this different type of raw, video?
Yeah.
So like, to me, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm probably going to be doing that because I'm wanting to continue to learn. But like, I'm not going to like, I don't know, the people that say that, I'm just like, are you really that like closed-minded?
Yeah.
And you know what I want to say, but it's just like,
This is like, why? Why are you thinking that's going to work? Like, that doesn't work with anything else, you know?
Absolutely. I feel
Like a
business
chef, if they
owners-
made something 8 months ago, you think they're just going
Yeah.
to make something and it's going to taste exactly the same?
Oh my
Or
gosh.
taste better? No, they have been practicing all their life.
And that's, as business owners, that is exactly what we were supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
We are not supposed to stay stagnant in what we do.
Yeah.
If we are on one level for our entire career, something is horribly wrong.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, I made a vow to myself in 2023 that I was going to do as many style shoots and content days as I could. Because I knew that if there's going to be one thing that's going to help me practice for my wedding clients and benefit them and their experience,
Yeah.
it's going to be
Yeah.
those content days. And I did as many as I could. I traveled as much as I could to show that I had a travel portfolio. And I think that that was one thing that really, really helped me
Yeah.
in 2024 and even 2025. I mean, like, I just booked a Maine and a New Hampshire wedding back to back, literally back to back weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, being able to have that and tag those cities, people don't know who you are until you show them.
Yeah.
And being able to have that free advertising tool like social media we were talking about, it's so helpful. And I think that everyone should sit down at the beginning of the year and make a goal. Not only personal goals, but business goals.
Right.
And last year, that was a huge business goal for me, was to practice as much
Yeah.
as I could. And my style from the beginning of January 2023 to right now is dramatically different because I shot as much as I could.
Yeah.
And it helps.
Yeah. And I think that's why I want to do them, because I'm looking at it. I want to create more video content,
Yeah.
and I want to get better at really good vlog travel video content and stuff. Like, that's what I want to do, because I'm watching these. I'm just like, I can do that shot. I can do that and stuff. And I'm just like, why? But then you're traveling. And you're just like, that's not. You got to go back and you got to do this. But I'm just like, I just need to do it and get more practice with it and practice. But I'm just like, if I go to Joshua Tree in November, like, my plan is I want to do like an hour long video that is like color graded and that is behind the scenes and like documentary, and it's just like during the shoot you see this B-roll and then you see that this stuff. Like, I want to do all of that, and then when I'm putting that in there, I'm just like, this is me, but this is also the creatives that I work with and stuff.
Absolutely.
Like, I just want to I want to support people in a sense, and that's the reason why this podcast is the reason is out there, is that I want to put these people on platforms that they're not going to be able to reach, by themselves. That's like something like around here. I don't know very many people that's focusing on YouTube, and I'm just like, okay, like, this could bring a whole different. We could post this. Prime example is 2 days ago, I got a message. A guy watched one of my videos, one of my behind the scenes things. He was from Wyoming, and he was a photographer out there, and he sent me a Facebook friend request and was like, hey, bud, he said, I'm kind of new to it. I'm from Wyoming. I was just let you know, like, I watched one of your behind the scenes. I loved it. You explained things actually really well for me. I was wondering if you could help me out, like, on my gear. I don't know what I'm doing and stuff. And I was thinking to myself, that's perfect. Like, who else am I going to, like, meet somebody?
You're
like,
reaching a whole new set of demographics.
yeah. I was like, I don't know anybody in Wyoming.
And that is literally what social media is for.
Yeah.
You are reaching tons and tons
Yeah.
of people. I would say over half of my clients wouldn't even know I exist.
Yeah.
Had it not been for having a travel portfolio, tagging and targeting those
Yeah.
cities through hashtags, through locations, I mean, they wouldn't know who I am.
Yeah.
And I tell my people in my mentorships all the time, how are they going to know that you're as good as you are and you exist if you don't put yourself out there?
Right. So style shoots. I mean, you mentioned it so many times and stuff throughout this whole episode. You just recently did one this weekend, right? And then, so kind of like dive into that.
Yeah, so it's obviously so much planning, and my partner Allison, she's wonderful, and I feel like we are really such a good balance, because I feel like we just work so well together, we vibe so well together, and we both have such different and unique styles, so it works so well. And so we just did one yesterday at the Ellis House in Fairmont, and it is a beautiful new venue. and it's just gorgeous. The owners are so kind and they're so sweet, and they are booking for 2025.
Yeah.
They are gorgeous. You absolutely should check them out. But putting together those styled shoots, it's really more of like a fun, creative process for us, because I am so passionate about luxury weddings and high-end weddings, and I'm so passionate about kind of helping other people kind of step into that ballpark.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a portfolio that shows that you can shoot that, people aren't going to
Yeah.
know. And I feel like that's what I've like said this whole time is you have to have a portfolio that shows what you can do. And so we really invest so much into florals. Like yesterday alone, our florals alone were $3,000.
Yeah.
So
Well, and
yeah.
you know, and that's the thing too. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I talked to my wife about like the tickets and stuff like that, and she's like, she doesn't understand on kind of sense. I'm looking at it like, okay, well, if I did one,
Yeah.
you know, you gotta be making your money back if you're going to do something good. You gotta make profit, and then you gotta like just look at it on that. So I'm like, that kind of makes sense why it is. And then it's like the ones all the way out there. I was like, I know that's the reason why and stuff, but
I will say,
yeah.
I feel like Allison and I just love it so much. We aren't necessarily worried about profit as much as I feel like we should be. For
Yeah.
us, it's really just, we're so passionate about so many different things, and we have so many different ideas. And Austin, he is one of my associates, and he also has his own business, and he does a lot of our videos and stuff. And he even said yesterday, like, every single style shoot we've done so far, nothing has been the same.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what we want to do, because we really want to cater to all people, not only photographers, but also videographers. Anyone who's in content creation, we want to make sure that they can come and get good content.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're like a content creator, or like a wedding, like the wedding day content creators, they're not photographers, they're not videographers, but they sit there on their iPhones and they make tons and tons of content for those brides.
Yeah.
And so we really try to make sure that we have a good mix of things that can be taken for light and airy, or they can be taken for dark and moody. And we really put so much into it, so much heart and soul, and so much financial wise. We really do try to put everything we make off of it back into it, because we want the best of the best for our portfolios as well as everyone else.
So you guys have done. You're going to go to Cannon Beach up in Oregon, and then you've done Hawaii. You've done.
Yes, we've done Buchanan. We've done Clarksburg, Mineral Wells. We actually did one here in the studio in April. We did Hawaii. And then we're going to do Cannon Beach in July, and then Joshua Tree in Palm Springs in November.
Okay.
And so those are all places that I've also been to before. And so I'm very familiar with Oregon and Cannon Beach, and I'm super excited because I actually have a wedding out there the week before.
Yeah.
So I get to just casually spend 2 weeks in Washington.
That's Cannon Beach is also it's like I think a filmmaker's bucket list too, because
Is a dream.
it's just it's in a lot of movies, it's in a lot of music videos.
It's very easy to make it look cinematic.
Yeah.
It's very easy because the location, and I think that's truly what we do when we do those like crazy state locations like Hawaii. We really try to focus more on the state and the location than we do necessarily like the models.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're gorgeous, but we really try to let the locations speak for themselves because it's just breathtaking. And Cannon Beach, like if you've never been, you need to go one day because it is.
Well, that's the thing. So my goal, I told you, is like, you know, Joshua Tree. Like I'm definitely. I'm saving up. That's the like after September, I had 20 weddings for this year booked. So like my really starts in August, and then it goes to like end of October. That's it. So that's going to be probably going to be when I'm gonna be getting that ticket and stuff. But
absolutely, and I feel like the fall for everybody is just crazy too.
I'm so ready for that, but I've been wanting to do it because like the whole community aspect is where I'm trying to drive into.
You learn so much from other people, and I feel like Allison and I mean, she is such a hustler. She's just barely 20.
Yeah.
And she's been doing this since she was in high school.
Yeah.
She loves it, and she's so great at what she does. And so we're very similar in that aspect because we both work our butts off.
Yeah.
You know, I have 46 weddings this year, and now granted, only 28 of them I'm
Yeah.
shooting. So my team gets to take the rest. But you know, being able to not only find the time, but also coordinating everything with Allison and all the models and the vendors, it's a lot, but it always comes together and it always works out so great. And it's so much fun. And I
Yeah.
feel like for us, like her and I, we really care more about the content than we do making money from it.
Yeah.
And I think that that's so valuable because her and I have both experienced kind of negative style shoots that we've been to in the past where we're kind of just sitting there and we've paid thousands of dollars and we're like, man, like this really
Yeah.
is not what we were promised. And so that was one thing we were very adamant about was everything we make, we try to put back into it to make sure it is the best of the best for everyone that we could do as possible.
Yeah, there's a one that's out. It's like cattle something. I don't know. I always get ads for it because it's in Arizona and they do like the like Western themed ones.
Yeah.
I want it so bad, but it's like their tickets
Yeah.
is like you guys are like
We really try to
Not even,
keep
like-
our ticket
yeah.
prices realistic.
yeah.
Because obviously West Virginia is a very different demographic
Yeah.
than it would be in New York.
I feel like they are though. I mean, I don't look at them just like I understand like because I follow you and
Right.
stuff like I'm like I understand what the value is going to
Oh
be
my
there.
gosh, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I just haven't had the time or stuff to do it, but I've already blocked it off. I told you. That's the reason why I was like, what's the dates on it? Because I was so excited.
Well, I have always wanted to do a Western one as well. So
Yeah.
stay tuned.
Listen, if you do that, I will do anything you ask me to do. I'm obsessed with it. So this whole entire summer, I'm talking to 5 models right now, and I'm doing this. I think I'm gonna do like this style where I kind of do different Shania Twain like outfits.
Oh, I love that.
And but I also that's gonna be like a series, and then another series is gonna be just like I really want to focus on like Western like portraits and stuff because one, it's trendy as F right now, and I actually like that style. I like it works with that golden. Like if I
Oh
could,
my gosh, yeah.
it works with me.
And
so
anything fringe, I'm
Yeah.
so all about.
Yeah.
I love fringe. I love being able to work with fringe because it's so cool.
Yeah.
It adds so much when you like do movement with it.
yeah, I love movement, like hair, water, smoke, all that stuff is really like I love it a lot. So but I've already told myself. All my mood boards is just Western themed, and I'm trying to be like, hey, this is what I want you to do.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to do anything like classy or anything. Now, if it's like engagement session or something like that, it's totally different. But like all my portraits that I want to do,
Yeah.
that's all I'm focusing on this year.
Yeah.
So
No, absolutely. We have a lot planned and in the works. I feel like we just have so many ideas that's why we love doing this
Yeah.
because you know it's different as a wedding photographer because you know we are very fortunate to be hired by the people that hire us and you know I don't take that lightly. You know it's an honor to serve the people that have booked with me and being able to do that makes me so happy. But I feel like being a creator, sometimes it can be difficult in that aspect because it's not necessarily my creative freedom. Now, granted, I still have creativity with it,
Yeah.
but being able to have total creative control over something and creating these like insane concepts has been such a great
Yeah.
like outlook for us, and it's been so much fun.
yeah, I think yeah, I know exactly what you mean because I mean that's the whole artist inside of us. We ultimately want to create our own vision at the end of the day as well. But that's the wedding. Yeah, the wedding photography part of it. When I changed my prices and stuff too, I kind of like that changed a lot on like I could do more what I wanted to do.
Absolutely.
And then they understood it because now they're getting a true kind of version of me and
Absolutely.
stuff. My first wedding I did was $200, and my biggest price now is $3,000. So
Yeah.
it's changed
And
a lot.
honestly,
So
I'm telling you,
I know, but
well-
I don't know what I'll do. It's just, everyone's saying that, and I understand.
Your
but-
worth is so valuable, though. Not only your work, but your worth and your value that you add to your content. It is so just amazing. And to be able to have creatives that are awesome enough to tell you, hey, dude, you're
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's a weird like accepting to I don't know. It's weird.
I was really, really nervous when I upped my prices to what they are now. Because, I mean, like, I am not cheap whatsoever. I'm up there, especially for out of state. Out of state pricing is, my highest package is like 8K right now.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
That
and
doesn't.
honestly, it's
Yeah.
really competitive with the other pricing in the different states. And it works.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, again, like, what works for you is not going to work for everybody else, but it's so important that you really take a look and look at your work and be like, you know what? I am worth this. My time is worth this. And I will tell you, every single time that I raise my prices, I get booked even more than I did before. And it's so crazy because you get so stressed out and you're like, nobody's going to book. And people are like, actually, I'd like that.
Yeah. Well, and that's what a lot of people. So my biggest package includes everything: engagement, photo, video. And also, I do a thing. Their boudoirs included, but most of them they don't do it, so they switch it out for like something else.
Yeah.
But I also do a 1-year anniversary shoot.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's kind of different and stuff. But all that stuff is included: second shooter, travel, everything, and then that's $3,000. And then some of these clients are like, "Yeah, you're like the cheapest one we've seen." And I was like, "What do you mean?" and stuff. So like, if I did go up, I'd probably put that package to like 5,000. But I don't think.
Really good pricing for where it's at.
Yeah.
I think my highest.
I can't see it more than that. And I feel so bad. If somebody came to me and paid 6,000 for, I just can't do that. I don't know.
See,
It just
that's where mine
yeah.
I think
For-
for in-state mine, the highest one is $6,000. Now, granted, that's photo and video.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, dude, when you think people won't pay it, they will.
Yeah.
And it really just has to come down to it where, you really have to look and be like, how much is my time worth?
Right.
And, my brides, they're amazing. And I will tell you right now, your prices will attract the type of clientele that you want depending on what it is.
Yeah. Very
And I will say, like, when I started out, I had some awesome freaking clients, bro.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I was only charging like $700-900, but I'll tell you what, I had some awesome people that I got to work with. And their photos were still beautiful. But I will say, like, really knowing your worth and being able to charge what your time is worth, it's helpful.
Well, going full time has kind of like showed that to me. I mean, I know I'm going to change them, but I'm not going to change them this year. I think if I book 2025, which I only have one right now booked for 2025, and so it's not going to like mess a lot of stuff up. But like I'll probably like move forward with that, especially when it gets down in the fall and my content is like flowing and people's gonna be like, oh,
The best part is,
stuff.
if it doesn't work, you can change it.
Yeah.
That's the best part. If I don't book weddings for a while, lower your prices.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it is your business,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah, that's
the
very
best
true.
part, is you can do whatever you want. But I joke with my clients, I'm like, I got student debt to pay off. I had to have wrist surgery.
Yeah.
Literally wrist
Yeah.
surgery. Because of shooting so much and shooting with a 28-70 f2, and that thing was just a big old boy.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, it's not just charging time, but like for me, from where it's full time, it's also charging to live, and pay off all that debt and everything that kind of comes with it. And people are honestly really understanding, and I will say normally they don't question it. I always have people that are like, you know what, you are out of our budget, and I completely understand. And normally in that scenario, I'm like, tell me what your budget is, and like if I can't work with it, because I will occasionally lower my prices for certain people if their vision aligns with what I want. Because I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I've done it a couple times where they kind of book me late and they just don't want everything, and I'm just like, well, okay, like I'll knock like 500 or 1,000 off of it or something like that. And I actually this last one I just did, they did photo and video, but they booked me 2 months ago, and she gave me a call and she was like, hey, very small ceremony. We're not doing that much. We don't even want like engagement photos or anything like that. We just want to like make sure that the day's covered. I was like, oh, I'll do a custom package for you. So like, I think I charged her $17.50, which is the price of one of my wedding videos. And she got photo and video from it. So I felt
like if
okay
it
with
aligns with what you want to do and you think that you're going to vibe with him, I think it is fully okay. And even if other people say it's not, it's your business, and that's the best part. You are your own boss. You can do whatever the heck you want.
Very true.
And that is the best part of owning your own business.
Yeah.
And doing what you want.
Yeah. Well, Heather, it's been an amazing time. I think we've literally probably have done 2 hours and stuff here, which we probably sit down and talk to another hour. But
We totally could.
it has been amazing to just catch up with you. Guys, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. All of her information is going to be located in the description below. As always, this podcast is sponsored by Megan Nicole Photography Studio. You can go to her website. You can book her for like mommy and me sessions. You can also do like portraits, boudoir. You can pretty much book the studio for anything as you want to shoot. All that information is going to be in that description. Along with the style shoots, that's Horizon Events, correct? Horizon Creatives. All that info is going to be there as well. So make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and remember, guys, never stop creating.
Period.